Greetings to the 24,100 grimdark enjoyers of my channel, and a friendly hello to the nearly 72% who haven't subscribed. Welcome to the first video of 2025. Surprise, surprise, we're starting the new year with a bit of salt, an informal ranty critique. You know, initially, I was thinking about doing a thematic list build. But in the past few months I've become a little bit apathetic towards the premise. Perhaps it's in part to 10th edition's detachment paradigm, lacking the strong flavor that comes from having sub-faction specificity. Or it may be due to 10th edition's handling of wargear options. Wargear being free makes it harder to justify less potent choices, since before, while not all options may have been appropriately priced, you could at least take solace in a suboptimal pick, saving you a few points. Or maybe it's just the lack of options on the faction level, where previously we had a catalog of relics, traits, and upgrade choices to create themey lists. But in fairness to 10th edition, there is the reality that I am not particularly enthused by the prospect of retreading the same factions with the same themes over and over again. That being said, this past holiday season, when the Grotmist detachments were being published, I was doing hobby streams fairly regularly. Streams where I would usually take a look at the detachment of the day. And to be honest, I thought a few of those detachments did have some potential for a nifty thematic list build or two. Among them was the Space Marines Librarius Conclave. The idea of a list that maxes out on psychers is a fun one. After all, meme often feeds into theme. And a savvy commenter suggested that the Librarius Conclave would make a fitting choice for a Bloodravens thematic list build, given the larger than average amount of psychers that the Bloodravens are renowned for. It was an intriguing enough idea, and it's been a while since I did a Bloodravens list build. So I started formulating what that list would be. Naturally, I started with a group of librarians, but I figured a Bloodravens list should feature the one Bloodravens model, Gabriel Angelos. And when I went to add this model to the list, despite my better judgment, I couldn't help but become annoyed. This is because Gabriel Angelos doesn't have rules in 10th edition. Not in matched play and not in Legends either. And so I took a breath and asked myself, what's our next best option? Okay, a captain in Terminator armor. GW did after all increase the base size of the Termi captain since the new model came out in the Leviathan release. So at least our proxy will have that imposing 50mm base, which is very apt for a chapter master. But no, that won't work because the Terminator Captain cannot take a Thunderhammer. Because the new model, this product here, doesn't have a Thunderhammer option. And there is no Legends variant of a Captain in Terminator armor that possesses a Thunderhammer option either. And so I found myself asking the primary question of this video. The crux of the matter. What is Legends even for? Now, in past videos, I've made the point that Legends is a necessary beast. GW is evolving 40k into an esport, or rather, T-sport. And putting aside the titanic amount of cringe that term incites within me, GW can't facilitate old products which are no longer produced in a very serious competitive gaming system. You simply can't have people scratch building, converting, and kit bashing proxies for those out-of-production units, because competitive power gamers will inevitably model for advantage. And so, in a competitive gaming system, it would be problematic to include units which can't be purchased. Though, we'll ignore the Carnidon in the room that is the availability of GW's inventory. Anyways, that is the necessary framing of the Legends category of units. Well, the best case I can make for it, to facilitate rules for units which are out of production. But is that really where we find ourselves? No, not at all, as per the Gabriel Angelos example from earlier, and this is where I get annoyed. What is Legends even for? Seriously, because it seems pretty clear it isn't for all legacy products, just the ones GW is willing to cater to. In the case of many of the Badab Forge World characters, Moloch, Angelos, Brayarth Ashmantle, Tyberos to name a few, you are shit out of luck. Or if you have an older variant of a unit with war gear options not present on the current iteration of that unit, like Terminator Captains or Jump Pack Captains with Thunderhammers, or Chaos Lords with any ranged weapon other than a plasma pistol, you are even more shit out of luck. It is such a dismal state of affairs when a Chaos Lord doesn't have access to his own warband's armory. Oh, to structure your game mechanics based on how products are sold in our world rather than how the logic of the world would dictate it. Quite embarrassing indeed, but I digress. To answer the question, what is Legends for? Well, Legends as a category demonstrably serves two purposes. The first is serving as a kind of purgatory for units to float around in for an edition or so, as GW phases their relevant products out of production, as per those beloved Badab commanders. And two, Legends serves as a category for units GW doesn't want to deal with when it comes to balance updates, which covers the Heresy units side of the equation, since obviously those new plastic Heresy kits aren't on their way out, but GW certainly wouldn't want to encourage cross-system purchasing either. And so I'll ask it again, what is Legends even for? It's framed as something for us, but really it's for them. GW is doing Legends wrong. A bold claim, I know. But as for what Legends should be, or what I think it ought to be, is a unit category which exists to facilitate the use of legacy units on the tabletop. Is it really too much to ask that at the start of an edition, GW at least attempts to facilitate the use of those legacy products? Personally, for a billion-dollar company, I don't think so. And the reason I feel so strongly about this issue is because this hones in on my golden principle for rules management, which is, rules should never be managed in such a way to punish the fruits of hobby efforts. Surely I can't be the only person who sees the appeal in realizing an army, a physical collection, being that it persists. In principle, it wouldn't suffer from DRM in the way online video games as services would. But effectively, with Gabriel Angelos, Tyberos, and the like, GW have DRM'd them out of existence. What a great reward for those who purchased those premium products and spent time to realize them. Those unique character centerpieces which, let's be real, in many cases, validate the collection of entire armies. Just stellar rules management. And the reason why I get so passionate about this failing of how the Legends system is utilized, because unlike online video games with DRM, our hobby asks a much deeper investment. And I'm not talking about the dollary dues, though there is that. I'm referring to the passion investment. Our hobby asks us to invest creatively. And you don't need to be a psychologist to understand that is then going to create a greater attachment to the product. You've bought it, built it, painted it, you've realized it. You put it on the table, and it's yours in a way a digital product will never be. I'm sort of reaching the end of this thread here, so I'll put it like this and wrap up shortly. Matched play, in its strictest organized event sense, is its own beast. It's a competitive rat race featuring the use of only current product. But not everybody in the hobby is seeking a finely balanced gaming system, where battles are always fought on L-shaped ruins. A hefty portion of the player base, a portion I would argue is likely the quiet majority, just want the reward of their hobby efforts. The reward they were sold into buying. To use the products GW sold them in the game system and IP GW said it was for. And so I think, at the very least, GW should honor that. Well, that's a wrap on this one. Gotta start the new year on the right foot. Purge those toxins out of the body, if you know what I'm saying. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. Channel members and patrons get early access to videos. Just a little something for those who help keep the dream alive. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.